Hello grade 10s. Today is a really quick and simple concept about finding the equation of a tangent graph. Because you've done sine and cosine already, this should be easy peasy because it is very similar. Once again, our formula for a tangent graph is y equals a tan x plus q. Now, in order to attain the formula, you need to find a specific value for A and a specific value for Q when given a graphical representation of the graph. So you'll be given this graph and you must read off very specific information that will help you find A and Q. So all you need to know is what information do you need to look out for in order to get A and Q. So this little rectangle at the bottom of the slide is exactly that. Your A value, I know this is quite a clumsy sounding definition, but when you see it in action, it's actually very simple. It's a vertical distance that we're looking for. It's the distance between the Y value when X equals 45, because we know that that Y value should normally be 1. But if it isn't 1, then A represents a number larger or smaller than 1. It's the graph has been stretched vertically by a certain factor. Now, what is that factor? That factor is letter A. So look at the vertical distance between the Y value when X equals 1 and the Y intercept. How do we get vertical distances? We subtract. So that's why we take the Y value when X equals 45 and then we subtract our Y intercept, both of which we should read off the Y axis. And that will give you your A. And then straightforward, your Q value is your Y intercept. So I'm going to do one quick example and then you have one quick activity to do on your own before we can revise finding the equations for all three trigonometric functions. So this example asks you to find the equation of this tan graph that's given. Now, if we just follow the process that I listed on the previous slide, for our A value, we need to find the vertical distance between the Y value when X equals 45, and that will be given to you. If it's not given to you as blatantly as this, you will have a very accurately sketched graph. So there will be a grid or something from which you can read this value. So then you must take this Y value 2 and say minus, what are we subtracting? The Y intercept. 2 minus negative 1, and that will give us a 3 as our A value. Now, how do we find our Q value? Remember, the Q is your Y intercept, and it is straight there in your face. So we can say Q is negative 1, and now we substitute A with the value that it's equal to. We substitute Q with the value that it's equal to, and voila, we've got the formula of this tan graph given. Just a reminder that there are always sub-questions in functions, trig functions or algebraic functions. We can ask you about a period, we can ask you about a range, we can ask you for which values of x is f increasing, for which values of x is f decreasing, obtain the new formula if f were to be translated 1 unit up. Then you take this formula and you add 1 to it and simplify to get the new formula. All sorts of application kinds of questions can be asked, but don't you worry about that. We're going to tackle that over the next few days. So by the end of this whole chapter, you should be A-okay with anything that we throw at you. Okay, good luck for your tiny homework exercise and good luck for the revision homework exercise. We will chat in a couple of days' time, and I hope you know that I'm very proud of you and I'm